A very good afternoon, Zimbabwe, and welcome to Africa and Beyond, the television network. And we are looking at a very controversial story being raised by Rutendo Matinyarare right here. And remember, we talked about the death of Mutumwa Mawere, a prominent businessman. And according to Rutendo Matinyarare, Mutumwa Mawere had around 27 companies. And as you can see right there on the screen, that is an open acknowledgement from Zanu PF, apologist Rutendo, that Mutumwa Mawere at a certain point in time was the richest man in the nation of Zimbabwe. Let us get straight to this story and understand what really happened and why is it that Mutumwa Mawere died like a pauper if he was once the richest man in the nation of Zimbabwe. So according to Rutendo, he says he was once the richest man in Zimbabwe, made by Zanu PF policies, indigenization and the preferential procurement alongside people like Nigel CHANAKIRA, James Makamba, Strive MASIIWA and others. And at his zenith, he had 27 companies, 2 banks, 2 insurance companies, a number of mines, a pipe manufacturing company and others bought through vendor finance and financial engineering enabled by Zanu PF indigenization policies. And under the illusion that he was self-made because he had worked at the World Bank, he was asked to give back to those who made him. He refused. Meanwhile, smart ones like Strive never forgot what made them, so they gave back to their masters without thinking twice. Despite playing to the gallery by speaking ill against the same Zanu PF that empowered them, you have heard Mnangagwa saying, "We make all those who have money in Zimbabwe." That's no joke. And he says, as a result, Mawere lost all that had been given to him. Mr. World Bank, thinking that since he was self-made and a South African citizen, he would join the ANC, get tenders and empowerment deals again to make it. But in a country where blacks own nothing, he became broke and destitute to a point of being embroiled in fraud of 250,000. For the better part of his last 15 years, he was trying to convince people like me and many others to help him fight the government to get his wealth back. But it was to no avail because it was never his in the first place. As a result, he died of stress and frustration at the age of 66, unable to get the support and empowerment that once made him. If Nigel CHANAKIRA and KASUKUWERE do not humble themselves, I see them suffering the same fate. Zanu PF made them all, and without Zanu PF, they won't survive. So this is a very long story, composition written by Rutendo Matinyarare right here, and he is mocking the late Mutumwa Mawere. So when you're listening at this whole thing right here, what we need to understand is this is an open acknowledgement that Zanu PF is the one which is destroying Zimbabwe. Zanu PF, imagine if this is true, Zanu PF destroyed around 27 companies owned by the richest men by then. Richer than Strive MASIIWA, richer than all these people we are seeing right now, Anakuda and everyone else. So imagine 27 companies taken, destroyed, vandalized, looted. How much was lost through this whole grab and take thing? So at this point in time, we are asking questions. Why is it that Zimbabwe is failing and what really went wrong? And you start to be told it's sanctions, you start to be told it's this and that. Yet 27 companies, including banks, including insurance companies, were seized forcefully by this regime. And they are no longer in existence as we speak right now. They ran down everything. SMM, which is Shabani Mashaba Mines, was run down. It's closed. Look at how many jobs were lost when it closed. Look at the investment which was lost, the investment which is rotting in Rishavan and in Mashaba. So when you are looking at this statement, to me, it's not just a statement. It's a message of acknowledgement from Zanu PF people and imposters that is how they operate. That is the reason why recently, or of late, we have seen people who want to invest in transport and mining and other, they are going to South Africa and register their companies in South Africa. Then they will come with those companies to operate in Zimbabwe, because they have realized how vulnerable they are when these governments just think to invade, they invade. And we need to look at this. What really happened? How did they destroy Mutumwa Mawere? And we are going to be guided by the acknowledgement through Rutendo Matinyarare that it is Zanu-PF which destroyed these companies, which took these companies from Mutumwa Mawere. So let us go straight to the issues. I'm trying right here to bring something onto the screen, which yes, okay. So this is what we need to discuss upon. It's really past screen ipapapa, so that we get to understand what went wrong. So you are looking at Mutumwa Mawere. Did he benefit from the indigenization policy? Yes, he did. He indeed benefited from the post-independence economic environment, which was created by Zanu-PF, is the Zimbabwean government. And a lot of indigenous entrepreneurs of his generation benefited. And the list includes Vanamanyika, MASIIWA, and many others, including CHANAKIRA, who have been mentioned. And then you are looking at the policies. What kind of policies did they use? You can use you can look at the indigenization policy, the vendor financing, and also there were state-linked financial access, which right now, people like Chivayo, they still have that access. Anata Gray, they're enjoying that access. A lot of comrades within Zanu-PF right now, these big people, they're enjoying this access, but differently from the time of Mutumwa. During the time of Mutumwa Mawere, you were supposed to be building something which is tangible. They built something which is tangible. Unlike these charlatans who are donating cars left, right, and center, but they don't have anything tangible. They are failing to deliver. Even the Gwanda Solar Project is not yet delivered. So that is the difference. So Zanu-PF then, he had a lot of influence over who could become who. So Zanu-PF was too influential. They could decide who you become. And also at a certain point in time, let us remember that at a certain point in time, Strive was blocked, allegedly, by Robert Mugabe, and his deal had to be signed during the Joshua Ngomo era when he was acting president. That is what other sources say. Okay, let us look at what is misleading from what Rutendo Matinyarare said. Mutumwa Mawere did not grab these companies from anything. These companies were acquired through debt instruments, vendor financing, international capital structures. Remember, he worked at the World Bank, which means he had access to international capital structures. The management control arrangements were also there, because remember, he was one of the most brilliant business minds of his time. So you are looking at Mutumwa Mawere. This is a man who built his companies through normal corporate mechanisms. It was not political gifts entirely to say, we are giving you this. So it involved, legitimate and genuine corporate understanding from Mutumwa Mawere himself. Then Zanu-PF claims that they withdrew support from Mutumwa. That is not the issue. Zanu-PF did not withdraw support from the businesses and companies of Mutumwa Mawere. They seized and dismantled his companies. In 2004, the government invoked what they call the presidential powers, which are usually temporary powers, to take over the SMM. And this used this method. They bypassed the courts. They froze the assets. Operations collapsed. Workers lost their jobs and pensions. That is what happened. So when you're looking at this whole thing, this is the government coming to destroy companies owned by an individual simply because he is refusing them direct control of the same companies. What happened is they expropriated the executive power over someone's businesses. It was never about the market, what it says, or about corporate guidelines or whatsoever. They stole the companies from Mutumwa Mawere. What happened after they grabbed the 27 companies is disaster. Everything collapsed. So what is very important is to note that ZANU-PF was trying to send a message to other business people to say, we can make you, we can allow you to survive, we can also dismantle you. So what they need is total control of all companies and every company. No company should fund the opposition. No company should not fund ZANU-PF. So Rutendo right here in this message is simply telling us that Econet, through Strive, they are funding ZANU-PF. That is the claim from Rutendo Matinyarare right here. Those are the allegations he's raising right here. He's telling us that Strive is funding ZANU-PF. So as each and every businessman to survive in Zimbabwe, you have to fund ZANU-PF. So it's no longer about doing business the right way, creating jobs whatsoever. It's about patronage, it's about funding ZANU-PF, it's about making ZANU-PF survive, no matter the circumstances, no matter what. They donated cars to the military. They're donating cars to everybody and to the military and to everyone so that they sustain themselves, so that they survive. This is what Hubert Angel is defending. This is what Hubert Angel is calling the mind of God. Guys, in Kadaro, I have to doubt such a God. He's supporting corruption, he's supporting murderers, he's supporting people who are making the people to suffer like that. Why? Why? Okay, I would have agreed if the prophet was saying God is doing this to the people of Zimbabwe so that they repent. But no, that is not the issue. He's saying this is the mind of God, this is what God wants. And God is working to make Zimbabwe great again. How is he going to do that in such an environment, Yatinayo, if this environment does not change? We are talking about a government which destroyed companies of an individual, 27 of them, according to Rutendo Matinyarare. So, wealth in Zimbabwe is now conditional. It's whether you support ZANU-PF or you die a pauper. Property rights are not respected. Property rights are political. That is the reason why land is being grabbed left, right, and center, and nothing happens. Success depends on loyalty, depends on who you are to ZANU-PF. It's not a matter of innovation. It's not a matter of what you can do. So you see that if you refuse to kiss the king, you'll be labeled, somebody who is not loyal to the system. You'll be labeled a terrorist. You'll be labeled Panduki, and everything will follow you. You have to suffer. So what is happening is the message is so simple. You have to give back to ZANU-PF no matter what. You must kiss the king and his palace. You must worship them. You must do whatever which they approve. Without ZANU-PF, you won't survive. So it's a message which has been sent to business people. And it's very difficult for you to deny Kutiwa for sure ZANU-PF, because when you're looking at some of the charges, for example, data. In Zimbabwe, data is the most expensive. If these people wanted change, they would have simply said, okay, we are going to make sure that everybody does have access to information. And in this era, you simply need to lower the prices of data so that it becomes affordable. Once you have done that, you have opened Zimbabwe up to the media. Everybody now does have access to the media and the truth. Imagine you'd go live and everybody is affording to follow you, to follow through, especially during the election period. You will see that each and every person will have access to correct information, not ZANU-PF propaganda through the ZBC. So to a certain extent, for sure they are benefiting from this, because why is it that they do not want to lower the prices of data and they continue to make services expensive? So we have to leave that. Okay. When you're looking at this whole thing, there are arguments which can be given. Others believe that Strive is not surviving because ZANU-PF chooses him to survive. Others believe that he fought in court, he won against the state, he built his wealth outside Zimbabwe, and he no longer cares about his business in Zimbabwe so much. Others believe that, that is the position Yana Strive, but it's debatable, because if they simply want to do what they did to Mutumwa Mawere, they can do it. So it's something which is very, very important. Okay, Mutumwa Mawere died a pauper. Yes, Mutumwa Mawere was disgraced, he was stressed, he lost almost everything. And why is it that ZANU-PF people, they are celebrating this, and why is it that they're happy? Will Zimbabwe succeed under ZANU-PF if these people are celebrating the fall of Mutumwa? So what we can say is, at this point in time, Zimbabwe won't survive under ZANU-PF for a longer period. Why? Is because wealth is decided or is dependent on your political obedience. The law is no longer, obeyed as the law. It's now a subordinate to the interests of the party. Investors, they fear, that they won't survive in the Zimbabwean economy. If this can happen to Zimbabwean born people or to Zimbabwean citizens, what about to other foreigners? Will they survive in Zimbabwe? Will their investments be safe in Zimbabwe? That is what is chasing away investment in Zimbabwe, not this alabalu about sanctions, this and that. So the elites are there to extract, to milk, to take. They are not there to build. So that is something which is very important. It's no longer about talent. It's now about submission. It's no longer about your ability. It's now about who you submit to. So this is something which is very important. And my question is, why did ZANU-PF destroy its own like that? It's because these people, they do not want competition. These people, they do not want anybody to rise above and beyond them. And they want to continue to be in control, even to the detriment of the economy. They simply want to be in charge and in control. So the next time ZANU-PF people tell us about sanctions, the next time they come to lecture us about sanctions, the truth of the matter is they destroyed Zimbabwe. They destroyed, or they looted and they stole 27 companies from Mutumwa Mawere. This is according to Rutendo Matinyarare. They stole 27 companies from Mutumwa Mawere. They ran them down and they destroyed the Zimbabwean economy. This is a man who was once the richest man in Zimbabwe. He was destroyed just like that. And where are we going as a nation? And why should we continue to support such kind of people who destroy their own simply because they are selfish, simply because they want to remain in control and in charge of everything else? So to me, it's a very sad situation, guys, but this is what we have, this is what it is, and this is an acknowledgement, an open acknowledgement that ZANU-PF is an evil party, is a political party which you cannot trust at all. So Samka says, Zanzi, the Nigeria billionaire must be careful. He will be killed and finished. Better he stop investing in Zimbabwe. Very dangerous move. So we will be waiting to see what happens. But to some extent, I do agree with you. It's no longer safe to invest in Zimbabwe. We do not hate these people. We simply want them to be accountable. We simply want them to run Zimbabwe differently. But It's so sad that this is what they have to say to Mutumwa Mawere. If you look onto the headline, the headline by Rutendo, let me highlight, he says death by selfishness. Imagine, munaraskirwa na upenyu munafa, death by selfishness is something else. My brother Temba, thank you very much for coming. A very good afternoon. This side, we are okay. And we hope and believe that you are hearing us loud and clear. Thank you very much, everyone. Let us meet in other episodes as well as other broadcasts as we continue to look at what's happening in the nation of Zimbabwe. It's a sad moment to have Zanu PF. Okay, my brother Temba is asking about the elections in Uganda. Results are still coming in. Limited information so far. The last time I checked, the Election Commission of Uganda, they had completed less than 10% of the total votes. So I think we'll be following this thoroughly, and we'll be bringing updates to you as they will be coming in, or as the results will be coming in. We'll bring an update about Uganda election. So we are going to do the compilation, bring all the evidence, and we'll do a live program about what is happening in Uganda. But something of note, the special advisor of Yoweri Museveni clearly mentioned, or clearly said, that they are not going to let Bobi Wine win the election based on the vote. They are saying Yoweri Museveni is not going anywhere, whether he loses or he wins. So we are going to be talking about that issue when we come with the live program. I love you all. Thank you very much for coming.